Got ITB syndrome? Here are my top 5 exercises for this condition. Exercise number 5, we have the banded horse stance or the banded isometric squat. So I'm going to take a band here, this is a loop band, and I'm going to place this just around my knees. And from here, I'm going to take a stance that's just wider than my shoulder distance. Feet could be facing forward, or you could be rotating them up to 15 degrees out. And what you're going to do is just squat down, and you're going to hold the bottom of your squat for up to 5 seconds. After you've done a 5-second hold, you're going to be coming back up. Now it's really important that while you're at the bottom of that squat position, that you're driving your knees right into that band and pushing outwards. What this will do is stimulate your hip abductor muscles to contract, stabilizing that lateral knee so that it can offload that ITB, and then you'll be coming back up. All right, let's go to the next exercise. The next exercise we'll be doing is a banded wall side kick. So I'm going to take a band, I'm going to loop this around both of my ankles, and then I'm going to lie down on my side. Now the reason why we're using a wall is so that we can make sure we're doing pretty good form, because there's a tendency for people to let their leg drift forwards while they're doing the side kick exercise. And this is because a lot of people tend to be a little bit more hip flexor dominant, but we want to make sure we're targeting the hip abductors and isolating that muscle group. So from here, I'm going to stabilize my back against the wall, pelvis against the wall, heel against the wall, and I'm going to have my leg with the knee straight. From here, I'm going to raise that leg up, and I'm going to go up to at least 45 degrees hip abduction relative to the floor, and then I'm going to come back down. I'm going to be doing anywhere between 10 to 15 repetitions, just really making sure that I'm getting a good contraction in this hip abductor region. I also want to make sure that my pelvis isn't crunching up towards my side. I'm not really trying to engage my obliques or my QL muscles or any of my lateral lumbar flexors. I'm just going to be trying to isolate that motion just like that, and then coming back down. Now, you could do this without the wall. It's just really important that if you're going to come off the wall and you're doing this exercise, that you're making sure that leg is staying in line with your body and not coming forward. So basically, if I can see my foot just by looking down, I'm really targeting the wrong muscle group. I want to bring that leg backwards, so I can't really see it if I'm looking straight forwards. All right, we'll go on to our next exercise. Exercise number 3 is the wall banger exercise. Now, there is a bit of a learning curve with this one, because if you don't have the proper hip alignment, you're not really going to feel this exercise much at all. So it's really important that my hips are squared forwards as much as possible. I really recommend that if you're learning this for the first time, your hands are placed on your hips just like this, so that you can see whether or not you're rotating off to the side. So first I want to show you the movement. You need something like a wall or something stable beside you. You're going to stand about a foot distance away. So toes touching the wall. I'm just going to rotate 90 degrees, and that's what's going to dictate where I'm standing to begin with. I'm going to go into a light bend with my knees, hips, and pelvis squared forwards. And I'm going to be shifting my pelvis over until I tap that wall with my outer hip here. But I'm going to be making sure that I'm not leaning into the wall, okay? So I like to imagine that this wall is made out of rice paper or something, so that if I were to lean into it, I would fall right through. So I'm just kissing it with the side of my hip, or just tapping it with the side of my hip while my pelvis is lined up forwards, coming down nice and easy, shifting my hips to the side, tapping that wall. I can hold that tap position for up to 5 seconds, and then coming straight back up, really making sure that I'm not rotating. So there's a tendency for some people learning this for the first time to rotate the hip like that. And you'll still feel this a little bit in your outer hip region, but you won't feel that deep stretch that we're looking for. That's really beneficial for ITB syndrome. All right, so exercise number 2 is a Bulgarian split squat with a dumbbell. Now it's really important that we're doing one dumbbell in one hand, and it's going to be in the hand opposite to the hip that we're targeting. And this is because research has actually shown that holding it weight in the opposite hand increases hip abductor activation. And this is probably because it provides a counter rotation or counterbalance to maintain a balanced position. So to get started, I'm gonna hold onto that dumbbell. I'm gonna be targeting my left side for this exercise. So my right hand is going to be forwards, my left leg is going to be forwards. From here, standing straight up, leg on the bench, hands straight in front of my thigh. I'm going coming down into a split squat, and then coming right back up. Keeping in mind that this back leg is providing minimal amounts of lift-off power. It's just there to help you balance and stabilize your position. Right back down. I'm going to appreciate the stretch I feel in my gluteus medius, my gluteus maximus as well, and coming back up. I also really want to pay attention to the line of drive of my knee. When I'm coming down to this exercise, I'm making sure that this knee is not pointing inwards at all. It's just in line with the middle toe of my foot. If that means your foot is rotated out, then your knee's coming out, but try to keep everything straight and forwards for this exercise. You can do anywhere between 8 to 12 repetitions as long as they're pain-free, and anywhere between 2 to 3 sets, 2 to 3 times a week. Let's get to exercise number 1. Exercise number 1 is the front foot elevated R&T abduction split squat. I know it's a pretty lengthy name, but really it's pretty basic. All you need is an exercise band anchored to something stable like a squat rack next to you and a plyo box or a stepper to elevate your foot from the ground about 10 to 12 inches from the floor. From here, I'm going to make sure I set the band either above or below my knee. Below the knee provides a bit more of a stimulus for your outer hip muscles. And I'm going to just lean forwards while making sure I'm controlling this knee. This band is providing stimulus that wants to pull my knee into a valgus position. So I'm going to be taking my hip muscles and that's going to counteract that. I'm going to feel it in this hip while I'm going through this deep knee flexion range of motion. From there, coming right back up into a standing position. So as you can see, I'm not lunging, I'm just kind of leaning forwards with this knee, resisting the band's pull and coming back up. You can of course do this without a band as well, but the band will just help to recruit your lateral line muscles. Like I mentioned, the gluteus medius and gluteus maximus muscles, the hip abductors to stabilize this knee. All right, that wraps up our video. As you may have noticed, a lot of the exercises in today's video is about recruiting the hip abductors to help stabilize and move that knee. This is because even though the location of pain is at the knee, the problem is really at the hip. If you have any questions regarding this video, let me know in the comments below. Let me know also if you want to see another condition done in the same way. If you're new to my channel, please hit subscribe. I appreciate every single follow that you guys give me. If you're looking for physiotherapy, chiropractic, massage, naturopathy, or acupuncture services, you could book in the GTA. We have 2 clinics, one in Markham, one in North York. You could book in using the link in the caption or just go to rehabhero.ca. See y'all next time. Peace.